raised in the Lone Star Land, with boots on my feet and dreams in my hand. A little sassy but a whole lot of grace. You'll see that fire when you look at my face. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright. Barbecue smoke, Friday night lights, cheering for the Astros under Texas skies. A little bit stubborn, a whole lot of charm. This big old heart will keep you warm. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright. Barbecue smoke, Friday night lights, cheering for the Astros under Texas skies. A little bit stubborn, a whole lot of charm. This big old heart will keep you warm. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright. From the blue bonnet fields to the city streets, every step I take feels like home to me. With a little sass and a lot of pride, this Texas girl's got nothing to hide. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright. Gummy shoe prints, laid them down the street. Chocolate wrappers hiding secrets sweet. They don't miss a beat, they've got a knack. With licorice ropes pulling answers back. Twist the wrapper to reveal the truth. A sticky web spun by a candy sloop. No sour lies can escape the grip. These lollipops always crack the whip.
Sebastian, sweet boy, where have you gone? The sun sets low, but we keep marching on. The wind whispers your name soft through the pines, a melody aching in these hearts of mine. Roads are endless, the nights are cold, but your story's a light we'll never let go. Where are you, sweet boy Sebastian? We're searching the hills, the rivers, the plains. You deserve better, oh you deserve better. And your army is fighting through heartache and pain. Your laughter once rang like bells through the air. Now silence just lingers, it's more than we can bear. We carry your memory, a flag in our hands. Through shadows and valleys, through shifting sands. The roads are endless, the nights are cold, but your story's a light we'll never let go. Where are you, sweet boy Sebastian? We're searching the hills, the rivers, the plains. You deserve better, Oh, you deserve better, and your army is fighting through heartache and pain. Your laughter once rang through heartache and pain.
Well, hello, my friends. How is everybody doing? Hello, hello, and happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a really great day today. Thank you all for being here with me. Sorry I scheduled it so late. I've been trying to gather some more stuff up and I was way behind time. But hey, thank you for getting the notice and showing up for us. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Hello, Miss Rhonda. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Blue Eyes. Lori, how you doing? Diane, good to have you today. Let's see, me and you. Wild Child for Life. Hello there. Lisa King. Let's see, Charlene, how are you? Hey, Peggy. SI, how you doing? Let me see here. Valley Gal, how are you doing? Good to see you. I'm too honest. She said I just stopped to send some love. She has been a member with us for 9 months. How exciting. She says, justice for Summer and Sebastian. Yes, yes, and yes. Thank you for being part of us for so long. We love having you. Let's see who else in here. Teresa and Kelly. No, poor little Zoe. Oh my goodness, my friend. She must be beside herself with worry. Please give her a hug for me, okay? And tell her Lolly and all our friends here are praying for her and for little Zoe as well, okay? Oh my goodness. I tell you, our pets become just part of the family. Let's see here. Who else? Anybody sneaking in? Hey, Sharon, Canadian True Crime, Miss Fran. There's Niecy Marie. Hello. Let's see. Anybody else? Thank you guys for all being here. I appreciate each of y'all so much. Everybody in the bushes, thank you as well. And anybody on replay, thank you. I do want to start by just saying, please continue to pray for the tip that we've got going here for Sebastian. We're still working on that to get it checked out. And oh, I bet, Kelly, I bet. Oh, goodness. So please continue to pray for that brings something positive that we can have to hold on to, and keep praying for Mr. and Miss E and Middle E. He is just got a big battle ahead, and they are right there beside him the whole way. So y'all please continue to keep the E family in your prayers, if you would. And hello, Doodle Mom. Thanks for joining us. And so let's, keep those in your prayers. What was I gonna? There was something else I thought I was gonna talk about. Now I can't remember. Okay, it'll come to me later, maybe. Well, guys, so the words of the Father, Son, where are you? That's for today's title, and we are going to hear just a little bit. Listen to Seth. He will have Seth, Tony, and Bullhorn Betty on panel with him. This was done about a year ago. And we're going to go back and listen and hear his words pertaining to his son. A wonderful friend has shared information with me, and I thought, okay, we're going to look into this. And so we're going to start with this first and get this talked about. So we know that Seth has been in some type of litigation with Texana Fernandez. And court got pushed back to the 27th of this month. This was filed December 5th of 2024. And this is Seth Roger, the defendant. Now, you remember this lady, in my opinion, is completely wackadoodle. But she's the one that caused all the disturbance at the vigil for Sebastian's birth, or before his birthday and everything. And let me share this with you. And hang on, let me get to it so I got a bunch of stuff I'm going to read to you today. But this one here says, Clerk of General Sessions Court. Now, this is on a public platform. It is on Facebook from Texana Fernandez. Montgomery County, Clarksville, Tennessee. General Sessions Court Judge Poland. Gives a civil number, the civil case number. Texana Fernandez versus Seth R. Rogers. Motion of notice. Motion of notice to the court of tampering with the witness by Mr. Seth Rogers. Reference 18 U.S. Code 1512. Tampering with the witness, victim, or an informant. Everybody hold on to your britches because this is going to blow you out of the water. Mr. Seth Rogers threatened physical harm to a subpoena witness who is named in the General Session Court docket. Witness name, Chris Proudfoot. Mr. Seth R. Rogers threatened physical harm to the witness. Platform of video production. You guessed it, YouTube. Creator at Seth Rogers. Date of production, July 14th, 2025. Title of video, hello everyone. Thank you for cooperation, time, and consideration in this matter, Texana Fernandez. Now, we're not going to pay no attention to that because any time that Seth came out and spoke against Katie or Chris is because of the outrage and the anger put behind Christopher's words over on his friend's channel. And I hope the court hears the reason Seth spoke out about them. So I thought I would share that with you. Now, here is just a little more interesting things when it comes to this lady. Here is a post, and her title is BHB Andrew Griffin Patrol Car 4704/KLINE. Life reminder, any further threats of physical personal abuse will be reported to the police department at the location of the incident and any relevant federal agency. Please note that threats or abuse of any form will no longer be tolerated without consequences. Understand that. She posts this below. Okay. Now, this post here says it's from Clarksville Police Department, Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. Hello, Texana Fernandez. Clarksville Police Department has received your incident report submitted. And it goes to Clarksville PD Police to citizen.com. A representative from our agency will soon review the information that you have submitted to determine what steps should be taken next. We will contact you using the information that you have provided about yourself if any additional information is necessary. Incident submission number. If you should need to contact our agencies directly concerning this incident report, please reply to the following incident submission number. Y'all, it don't stop there. This crazy lady has filed against the Clarksville Police Department. Look at her. Look at her witness. Look at her witness. Chris Proudfoot. Now, answer me a question. What the hell is Chris Proudfoot doing in Clarksville to witness anything? Maybe stalking or harassing or something pertaining to Seth Rogers particularly? I don't know. Just wondering. This is another one she made. Y'all, there's more. Hold on. You're going to realize how wackadoodle this lady is. Once again, Bullhorn Betty, Adria Griffith. Clarksville, Tennessee residents and visitors, please be advised that data is currently being collected regarding the treatment of the Clarksville Police Department towards the community at large. If you have a positive or negative experience in response to a 911 call or an in-person visit, please share your story via direct message. Your efforts in providing a clear understanding of your experience or experiences are appreciated. Once again, the BHB Andrew Griffin patrol car. None of that was done in Clarksville with the Proudfoots. This woman, keep in mind, is or has been, let's use that word, done by a woman who has been financially supported by Kathy Bowersox. We'll just leave that there. But there was a post that was put out by Jennifer Jennings. I'm going to read it to you here. This is Chris's fault. Once again, he has shown too much attention to Texana in courtrooms, making her feel valid in this case has been a problem since day one. Her hatred for BHB and Chris's hatred for BHB is what brought them together. I've been a witness to their conversations in court. She feels so valid that she thinks she has an upper hand with Chris over Seth. They are two peas in a pod. She has created so much turmoil and loving every minute of it. It's disgraceful and disgusting. Once Chris turns on her, so much truth will be spewed from her lips. In my opinion, she's vindictive and someone who desires attention in the public eye, just like Chris. Well, of course, Miss Wackadoodle is not going to allow that to go by without any reply to it. This is once again BHB Andrew Griffin Patrol Car 4704/KLINE from Texana Fernandez, July 27th. Jennifer Jennings, if you require information about me as a person, I would advise against relying on Tammy Allen's public statements about events she did not attend. Similarly, I would not consider Aaron Cartner's descriptions regarding Sebastian Rogers and my activities associated with attending tent camps, homeless, and tiny homes communities or shelters. I must inform you, Aaron Cartner, albeit regretfully, that Sebastian is not the only missing person my team, y'all, she's a lone wolf all by herself, being paid money from Christopher's mom. She has no team. But she says, my team, oh, okay. Sebastian is not the only missing person my team has investigated. Furthermore, you are in no position to label volunteers at homeless shelters as liars if they believe or claim to have seen Sebastian in their facilities. It is individuals like yourself spreading judgmental falsehoods who risk the lives of others. Lord help her, she needs help. But now, hang tight. Let me pull this one up. I'm telling y'all, it just goes on and on and on with this lady. But here we go. There is a missing persons flyer by the Department of Justice Federal Bureau of Investigation posted on her BHB Andrew Griffith patrol car page. Okay. She has a whole page about that. And she's posted the flyer. I want y'all to listen very, very carefully to the words she says about Sebastian. Okay? This is all about Sebastian. Listen to her words because we're fixing to have a discussion about it. My name is Sebastian. Here are some facts about my position in this world as of July 14th, 2025. I do not subscribe to any social media platforms. I do not have any social media presence. I hereby deny permission for any YouTuber, creator, or influencer to utilize any of my personal characteristics, behavior, attributes, medical conditions, life experiences, or medical records for their own exploitative purposes to generate revenue, gain fame, or disparage another individual. For those social media platforms, creators, and influencers who have maliciously referred to me, I would hold you accountable once I reach the age of 18. I refuse to participate in any you know that word, exploitative schemes. My name is exclusively my own. Now, first of all, I hate to tell Miss Wackadoodle herself, but in no way, form, or fashion does this woman have any right to speak for Sebastian. First of all, end of story. She cannot keep anyone from saying his name. You see, it was his mother and his stepfather who brought his name to a public platform. It was his mother and his stepfather who put his story out on a public platform. They did not go to the news. They did not go to the television. They came to YouTube. Therefore, his name and information is already been put out there. They're the ones that did it. And that lady is not going to ever tell me I can't talk about Sebastian. Now, if his father was to come to me and say, "Will you please stop?" Guys, I seriously would consider that. But I will never at any given time consider anything that woman says. Never. And so my second question would be this one particular sentence right here. For those social media platforms, creators, and influencers who have maliciously referred to me, I will hold you accountable once I reach the age of 18. What does this woman know? That's my question. What does she know? Does she know he is alive and will reach the age of 18? Because that's a big question. That's a big, loaded question in my book. And guys, I'm sorry to bust her little tiny bubble over there in her own little head. But I have a feeling Sebastian will thank us one day. I really do. I have a feeling Sebastian would be proud to know that we kept his face out there, his story out there, and told the truth, the facts as it is. And so, with that, I just say, go on with yourself, lady. Now, okay, last one. Same page, BHB, Andrew Griffin, patrol car, blah, blah, blah. Many of you are aware that I have been out of town. Upon my return, I checked my mail to find a gift from the IRS, which serves as a reminder of my previous warnings regarding the misuse of money funds by Green Team members and at night. Thanks to all the public Americans who sent proof about the stolen funds, missing receipts and data logs, and signed sworn affidavits. Congratulations to all. Then she has this photo of 13909 form here. Rogers Homestead of Family Values. Seth Rogers, details of alleged violation. Seth, Tony, Sarah, at night, One World, Mr. Dwayne Dog Chapman. And it goes on and on and on. And then submitter's information is Texana Fernandez, May 2025. These people, I'm telling you, are ridiculous. Listen to this. Thank you for the information submitted. We have an ongoing audit program, compliance with the IRS, and we appreciate you bringing this to our attention. If you obtain more information you think relevant to this matter, please send it with a copy of this letter. And this comes from the Director of Compliance and Planning. Guys, Seth started that before Sebastian ever went missing. I have a funny feeling that nothing got very far with it because his life has been turned upside down. But at no time is at night and all the people that she's got listed there part of the 501c that he was trying to get organized and figured out. He had plans. But when your child comes up missing, it takes precedence over your whole entire life. Unlike her friends and employer. Just saying. Oh, at this point, the things that have been brought out, the things that have been learned, there is no way they're going to allow this young man to just walk in the door when he's 18. Now, after stating all that we have, let's read our disclaimer so that Ms. Texana Fernandez herself can show this in court. Myself, along with moderators, subscribers, and anyone in chat, express their opinions. On this channel, we present speculation, possibilities, and show things found for everyone to decide for themselves what opinion they have. We're here for helpful purposes only. We're not here for drama, for hate, or anything negative. Please respect all opinions. My content is not to be used in a negative way at any time. So, lots of stuff going on with a woman who walks into the courtroom during Bullhorn Betty's case, whispers into mommy's ear, and her and Chrissy Poo go outside of the courtroom door. Mom and Chris come back in. They sent her off to do other things. It's been seen with people's own eyes. People know it. She went with the intent to disrupt the vigil they were having. And she wanted Betty to put hands on her. That was stated prior to her attending that. And yet she's the one in litigation tying everybody's time and efforts and money all up when she herself doesn't even have to pay for a lawyer, because I'm sure mommy's got one ready for her. You know, that's how this works, guys. That is all because Sebastian came up missing and we're trying to find him. His father wants him home. That's what he has to deal with. Stupidity at its finest. Corruption out the yin yang. However you want to say it, it's right there. All happening because a father wants to find out where his son is. It's gross. All right, Christine, thank you. That's sweet of you. We all pray for his safe return. I hope and I pray that that young man is still alive and his father will get to see him. But I'm telling you, if Sebastian was to walk through that door today, Katie and Chris wouldn't be very happy because Sebastian would be able to tell his story. And it's not going to weigh in their favor. All the evidence is right here in front of our eyes, and it says they're not going to like what Sebastian has to say. And at this point, as deep as they've gotten into this, and as deep as they are going as far as suing everybody all around, they can't let him come home. I agree, SI. I think they continuously give false hope to throw everyone off. I agree 100%. 100%. Very possible, Cooper. Very possible. I don't know. All I know is Katie drove him home that night. Those people were in play, in position, ready to make something happen. Their goal was for Sebastian to disappear. All the evidence points straight to that. Of course, but they say they have no evidence. Well, the mother told us he was a runaway. The stepfather said he ran away. He's out there somewhere. But all the evidence says no, that child never left that home on his own. Oh, I do believe she knows. I believe Chris knows. I believe his whole family knows. And I believe there's a few creators on the other side that know as well. I couldn't show it yesterday, but I was going to. I'm hoping, and I've been messing with StreamYard all day today, updated my computer, restarted it, all the things. So I'm hoping we'll be able to at least listen to this one interview today and get through it. But then we'll go back to Texas Roadhouse so we can look at all that. I know, Michelle. Katie's father said he was kidnapped. Strange, isn't it? But that word, y'all, him being the grandfather, he used that word. I don't think that man realized what doors he potentially just opened for us. I know, right? Yeah. He was a runaway until Nancy Grace. Yeah, Brenda, you're right. He was a runaway until Nancy Grace interview when she said she believes someone has him. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Stories that change. The stories, they just continue to change every time they open their mouth. The stories change. Hello to everybody that's come in. Thank you all for being here. If y'all would, please hit that like before you leave out today. If you haven't and would like to, we would love to have you join our membership. It would be amazing to have you. We'll be doing a members live here pretty soon, I promise. So let's get started here. We are going to, and the description is all in, or the links are all in the description of this video here. It is Seth R. Rogers, Sebastian's father. Let me get this pulled up. And here we go.
Hey, Sebastian's Army. How's everybody doing this evening? As always, we can't tell you how grateful we are for you guys stopping by and joining Seth tonight, and just ask that you guys keep him in your prayers. As you guys can imagine, this has been, probably the worst second or third days of his life, the last couple of days. You can probably see it on his face. It's hadn't had a lot of sleep. Things have been tough on him. So just keep him in your prayers. And again, from both of us and everybody that supports Sebastian, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. And we'll turn it over to Mr. Rogers.
I'd like to say thank you to everybody in chat. Thank you for my mods. Thank you for Sebastian's Army. Thank you everybody for the prayers that still continue to come in. We are continuing to look for Sebastian. We are continuing to trace down every lead that comes in, turn over every rock, go down every rabbit hole. We will find him. That is my only goal. And I appreciate everybody that's there with me on this goal of finding my son and bringing him home. It's been a very trying year. I know a lot of y'all I've seen in chat, you guys are not happy with some of the interviews that are going on, but there are people out there that are obstacles, and that's it. They're just obstacles, you know. Giving them any type of validation is not worth Sebastian's time. And I appreciate everybody that does debunk everything that they sit there and come out with. It's trying, very trying. Nobody really wants to sit there and understand what's going through my mind every day. You know, it's when I do sleep, Sebastian's there. And when I wake up, he's not. You know, some people have been sitting there going that they hope that Sebastian haunts his mother. I'm not into that, because I had nothing to do with his disappearance. And every time I close my eyes, he's there. I wake up having conversations with him. I relive every moment that I spent with him every time I go to sleep. The fact is that whoever has him, if you're watching this, if you're seeing this, please just drop him off somewhere where there's a phone where he can go in and tell him, please, my name is Sebastian Rogers. I need you to call 911. It's the only thing I care about is finding my son and bringing him home.
I want to ask a question, guys, and this is a for real serious question. It's not anything to be a dig towards Katie, but it's the God's honest truth. At what time have you heard those words come from Katie's mouth? I have only heard anything slightly close when she was asked questions. Here's his father speaking freely. And what does the first thing he do? He says, if you can get away and get to a phone, call 911, Sebastian. Tell them who you are. He's pleading and begging for Sebastian to make that call. Yeah, guys, I've never heard her do that without being prompted. TJ, you're in timeout. TJ coming in late. Oh, we're glad you're here, TJ. And welcome to everybody that's here. Thank y'all so much for being here. But yeah, the words Seth said in the first 3 minutes and 46 seconds, he's been already begging for his child to come home. Katie has to take those first 3 minutes to give her husband an alibi. But this ain't about Chris. This is about Sebastian. Okay, let's listen some more, guys.
Take a deep breath, buddy.
I do have a special guest this evening. Some of you in chat have already guessed who it is. I'd like to bring up Jennifer Cognizance.
Hi, everyone.
I forgot I chose the one with Jennifer Coffindaffer and not the one with Betty. My apologies. My apologies. I want y'all to listen to the difference from her being on here with Seth and Tony and the one that kind of all just gave us a sour taste in our mouth after listening to her. Yes, yes, Chuchi, you feel more empathy and sorrow from Seth, and Katie's is and Chris's is more scripted. Exactly. That is great. Here we go. Let's listen some more.
Hey, Jen.
Hi, Tony. Hi, Seth.
Hello, Miss Jen.
You know, this is so, I can't even relate. And I know everybody in the audience that hasn't lost a child. And I know there's many in this audience that have lost a child. We can't imagine what you're going through, but we can see it, Seth, and all of us are going to continue to use our platforms to bring Sebastian front and center, and to hopefully someday he'll be found, and your pain, your pain will go away.
I was talking to somebody earlier today, and he disappeared at 15. He's now 16, and it's like time stops. Time just stops. And if I found him tomorrow, it's trying to pack everything that I have missed doing for him, for the last year, and then just playing catch up. Like, disappears at 15. He's 16 now. I haven't even taught him how to shave. When he would watch me in the bathroom when I shaved, and he was starting to grow a mustache, and he just didn't like it. He was like, I don't like my mustache. And it's like, well, I like mine. If you shave it, it's going to grow in thicker. Teaching him how to use facial cleansers and the little machine. Like, I have pictures because teenager started to get acne. So, it's just,
when we listen to Seth, we begin to know Sebastian a little bit. Each time we listen to him and he tells things about Sebastian, he doesn't make fun of his child. He doesn't tell the negative things about his child. He tells about who Sebastian is as a person. And if it wasn't for his father speaking out, we would all still be thinking Sebastian is very young, all up in everybody's bubbles. You just don't want to even take him out in public kind of kid. But yet his father brings Sebastian to life right before our eyes.
I'm not done teaching him. And the fact is that somebody has my son, and they're stopping me from continuing to teach him. And just not done. I'm not done living my life, teaching him and enjoying my life next to him. At 15, I'm supposed to get 3 more years before he's technically able to move out of the house. And now he's 16. Now we're down to 2 years. And it's like, I find him at 16. He's probably going to have to stay at my house until he's 20 now, maybe 25. I don't know if I'm going to ever let him leave. Once I find him, like, I've always told him that he has a room at my house no matter what. But now I think it's more along the lines of, you're going to have to stay.
Now, here's a father saying, when I find him, when I get him back, he's never leaving my house. He's going to stay here. I'm not going to let him move out. You hear the hurt. You hear the love he has for his child. And yet, on the other side, we've heard how empty Sebastian's room is. How they've gotten rid of so many of his things. how they are moving on with their life and going on vacations and buying his mommy some jewelry. At no time do they talk about Sebastian being home. When he comes back, it's just sad. It is so different. It is night and day listening to the differences. No, I don't have any sound. It might be the air's on up here, but it's just my puppy. I mean, it's not my puppies. I don't have any. Ziva's here, but she's sleeping. Yeah, Brenda Sue, there is a lot of hate on Seth. And just before we got going with this video, this woman, Texas don't even want her, but unfortunately, she lives here in the state. It's a good thing she lives on the other side of the state, that's for sure. But she's taking him to court because he said something on a YouTube. He responded to Christopher. You know, I mean, let's play the time where Chris is talking on a phone call and says, I'll tell you this, if Seth opens his mouth, says what he knows, he'll never open his mouth again. Really? Really? That's big threat right there. It's that Texana Fernandez. If you go back and watch the first of it, I show a lot of things. You know, she's got Betty tied up. She's got Sumner County tied up. I mean, not Sumner County, Clarksville, the city of Clarksville PD there, them all tied up in courts, and Seth as well, because he harmed a witness. Not sure what the witness was. I mean, why was Chris even in Clarksville? Chris doesn't belong in Clarksville. That's where Seth lives. So that tells you they have no business or anything in Clarksville. They should never be there. None of them. Yeah, none of them are good. I tell you what, if you go back and watch the first part of it, you'll see how crazy she is, especially the post that she made about Sebastian, put his flyer out from the FBI and said, my name is Sebastian. I this, I that, and I will sue everyone using my name when I am found, when I am 18. I will sue them all and blah, blah, blah. And you cannot use my name and talk about me and make money off of me and blah, blah, blah. My gosh. It's funny how she doesn't call out the other side, who for a very, very, very long time had his name in the title of their videos and talked crap about everybody. Never mentioned Sebastian's name. Never mentioned his name. But boy, she throws out the green team on there and Seth. But like I say, we all got to remember she is financially being supported by mommy. Sucks. So there's that. Yes. Yeah, probably. Probably so, Niecy. Yeah. Yep. That's it, Lisa. All this court stuff is to deter away from finding Sebastian. In the story, they do not want this child found. He, even if he is no longer alive, they do not want his body found because his body will tell a story. If he's alive and can talk, he will tell a story. Sebastian will be able to have his say so when he's found. And they can't have that. They cannot allow that. Yeah, it is all distractions. It's gross intent is what it is. You know, but this is the man that's such a bad person. This man who's crying. Look at his eyes. They're all swollen and puffy. That's what happens when you grieve your child. And I dare any person to stand up next to me and look me in the eyes and say, that's a straight up lie. Because I will poke them in their eyeballs. I've lived that. I know that look. And we are seeing pure, raw emotions from his father. Unlike the scripted, narrative story that is told by his mother and stepfather. The lady, yeah, she is cray cray. She is. Yeah, he's a bully. He incites bullying. He pays for people to bully others. That's what he does. He pays others to do it for him, is what it comes down to. 100%. Let's listen some more, guys.
You know, I build a house. He's just going to have a house wherever I'm at. You know, you want to move out? That's fine. We'll build another one right behind the house. That way I know where you're at. That way I know that he's safe. And right now, the worst thing in the world is not knowing if he's safe, not knowing that he's getting fed, not knowing that he's properly clothed, not knowing that he's getting the friendship that he deserves, being able to talk to somebody that understands him. And it's horrible because I don't know what he's going through. And watching her interviews just made me sick because it's about them. I'm going through hell. I know I am, but I also know where I'm at. People know where I am. And we don't know where he is. He is my grace, and he has been my grace since he was born. And I just want to find him.
Seth, it's definitely abundantly obvious to me and Jen and everybody else that's watching that when you have an innocent parent that truly doesn't know where their child is, it's hard to fight.
Brenda says smoke and mirrors lead to reasonable doubt. That's a guilty person's tactic. 100%. Yes. You know, like I said, this was done prior to when Jennifer Coffindaffer went off the dark side or the deep side or whatever she did that caused an about face. But I found it very interesting because of things that she says here. She believes in Seth. She really, really does. In this interview, she is right here with them, supporting them. I don't know what changed in her, but something did change. Yes, she let down so many people, Cooper. I was raging mad. Seth was hurt in that chat, listening to her words. That's when I realized She didn't even talk to Seth prior to doing that live and saying, hey, look, you're fixing to probably be upset, but you need to prepare yourself for what I'm about to talk about. She didn't even do that, guys. Yes, Doodle Mom, look at the piles of money. Exactly. That's it. Money, money, money. And that, you know, but I think it's important to listen to the words she said before she totally did an about face. So here we go.
Back to tears, it's not hard to produce a tear. And I think that your interviews are telling over and over and over again. It's never been about you. It's always been about your son.
You know, I didn't
A lot
know
of
I
the
could cry this much. I didn't know anybody can cry this much. And it's like every day I feel like maybe I'm cried out and I won't do it. But just walk by his room, or I just see something that's his, and it's like I don't want to move it. Things need to stay where they were at when he left. So when he comes back, it's where he left it.
Guys, that statement has never been so true. Even with my own life, after I lost my own son, getting that phone call at night is that call that no parent ever wants to receive. And those days and weeks, then months, then years that followed, I wouldn't let no one touch my son's room. I wouldn't let him. That's his room, his stuff. Leave it alone. I would walk by his room and just stare at it and stand there in the doorway, and buckets of tears would come out of nowhere. I could walk by and smell a certain smell, and it would trigger buckets of tears. I never knew a person could actually cry that much for that long. And we're talking years. But we've not seen that from Katie at all. You know, we've never. Oh, thank y'all for the sweet words. But I'm telling you, I relate to the words that he says because I lived it. But I didn't live like Katie. Katie either knows exactly where he's at and he's safe and he's fine and she can go on living her life, or she knows where he is and he's no longer coming home. And she has shut that out. I don't know, guys. It's got to be one or the other, but at no time does a parent just go on and live life. Not after you lose your child. Patty, thank you so much for the super sticker. That is so sweet of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You are so kind. But yeah, we don't see this emotion from KK. We see her starting to cry because she doesn't know what to say. And so she turns to Chris and lets him answer. That's what we see. Look at his eyes, how swollen. Guys, I could not even put on mascara because I couldn't find my eyelashes because my eyes were so swollen. I feel what he's saying. I felt those things. This is real, raw emotions. And we get none of that from Sebastian's mother at all. Not at all.
And
Jen, I want to go to you for a minute and give Seth a chance to just decompress for a second. First thing I want to say is I think a lot of times, Jen, that people take having access to you for granted because you've now become this quasi content creator. And I think that, you know, having access to you, being able to speak to you, being able to get your opinions on things, a lot of people take that for granted because you're one of us now, so to speak. But I want everybody that's listening tonight to understand, and Jen, I can speak on a personal level. You know, you and I became friends working another case together, and have maintained a friendship, you know, all the way through today. And I'm blessed to call you a friend. But beyond the personal side of that, guys, when you have somebody with Jen's resume that has done what she's done, it doesn't really matter whether you like her or you like her channel or any of that. And quite frankly, Jen doesn't care any more than we do. But what I think that you have to be grateful to have is her as a resource and listening to her take on things, because quite frankly, it's not an uneducated take. It is a very, very educated take. It's based on years of experience. It's based on resources that have been available to her over time. And, you know, Jen, I'm just eternally grateful that we have you as an ear, as a friend, as someone that when we don't understand something, we can call you and say, hey, you know, does this sound right to you? You know, this is what we've heard. This is what we've learned in our communication with law enforcement, you know, in general. Does this seem right? You know, and you're able to talk us through. Yes, it makes sense, and this is why. Maybe it doesn't make sense, and this is why. But you know, again, we're grateful to have you as a friend and a resource, and just want all of your audience that follows you daily and all of Seth's audience to know that, man, what a privilege to have you on talking about Seth and his son and what you see and feel and believe based on your education and all your years experience. So I'm going to turn it over to you and just let you talk for a minute.
Well, Tony, I just want to say, first of all, that is very humbling. I'm humbled to be here because if it were my child, I don't know if I would have the wherewithal that Seth has shown through this. And I mean that sincerely. I haven't walked one step in his shoes, but sadly, I've walked alongside of so many parents over the years still that are in those shoes. And it's really something to watch the strength, to watch the focus be on Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, even with all the noise. And so bringing it back to him, I want to say that with all the cases of the missing, and we're all very active in all these cases. I post about them daily and talk about them daily. And Sebastian is so special. I don't want to say anything negative about any of the other missing. I just want to say, how did he become so special? And I think a big part of it, to start, Seth, was your honesty about him, your rawness, moments good, moments bad, but always moments honest. And you brought him to life, I think, for everyone. The pictures that were chosen, starting with the snake. I mean, just the draw of that. I mean, for me personally, we had a ball python named Jackie. My son is the exact same age as Sebastian. And for all of us that have a child and a son, particularly one that age right now, of course, this is so touching. But not only that, it's like the life in his eyes. I posted because I had seen for the first time, I heard his voice
You know, Sebastian's smile, you're right, Cooper. It captured all of our hearts. His smile lights up his whole face. His voice, the first time we heard his voice was from the video of the green tea. Mischievous little thing, you could tell. Just had that little silliness inside of him. And Seth plays the Christmas video. We watched him feel the music inside of him. Seth played his voice that he had recorded on phone calls and things. Katie showed us pictures of a very, very young Sebastian. But Seth brought Sebastian to life for all of us. That smile came alive. Yeah, he was. He was so excited his daddy was there. And Katie, you know, it's been said she can't take back the words she said about Seth, but he's the father that whatever Sebastian would do, his dad would be in the front row. Sebastian was very lucky to have Seth as his father. And unfortunately, his mother chose the wrong person to be his stepfather. And yet she's enjoying her life with that person. Make it make sense, folks.
With that green tea. And I got to tell you, that moment was tough, and it had to be tough for anybody who has a heart, because you could see that exactly how you talked about him, that you were just honest. You're like, he's kind of quirky, he's funny, he is interesting. And
So that leads me to my next question. I don't want to cut you off, but you walked right into it. You and I were talking on the phone the other day, and we were trying to wrap our brains around what exactly it was. You and I have talked about Joe Petito many times, has talked about the blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl effect. And, you don't often see a 15-year-old young man that captures the hearts of America like Sebastian has. So what do you think has made everybody get so entrenched with, I'll say, finding this young man, because I want to believe that that's what most people are here for.
That's what most people are here for. 98% of everybody here is here for that. And
I would have to say, since this video, the statistics have gone down to possibly about 8% at this point. And, we as YouTube creators can only do so much. And with there being nothing at all, nothing new, other people move on to other things. But for me, in my mind, all those interviews that we've heard repeatedly, going back to listen to them, I said it yesterday, we're always finding new little things. Yesterday, we listened to a video where a lady called it out for what it was when they talked about the possibility of Sebastian actually living or sleeping in the garage on his mattress. Katie made the comment that he would wake up in the middle of the night and come in and get some snacks. That's very telling. But it's was overlooked so many times. And then there's the other large percentage who prefer more drama than they would finding Sebastian, unfortunately.
Going back to a few of those things I said, but I think the other piece, this has truly become, I think for many, a mystery, if you will. To me, I don't really look at it that way, but I think a lot of people think, how in the world did this young man just disappear? And this gorgeous smile, his eyes that light up a room, all of that, you know, Tony and Seth, you could tell he's just a special, fun, vivacious young man. And our hearts go out. Does autism play a part in that? I think yes, because anytime you know that there's someone with special needs that are missing, it's even more special because they're more vulnerable. They're less worldly. So now you have somebody who's a teen, only 15, and vulnerable. It makes all of us even more worried and concerned. You put it all together, and Tony, I'm going to say that this isn't just the United States. The world cares about your son. The world is posting. The world is saying his name, hoping someone saw something.
Well, you mentioned hearing his voice with the green tea, and you know, something I didn't even talk to you about before the interview, but you're going to get to hear his voice again tonight, and it's going to be in a way that is so raw that I don't think there'll be a dry eye in the house. But you know, I want everybody to understand that I believe that when you come on the Father's channel to hear the Father in the raw, with raw emotions, talking about his son, I do believe that's a privilege. I don't believe it's a right. And these are personal things he's sharing. This is a vulnerability he's sharing. And I just don't want anybody to take that for granted, because I can tell you, you guys came tonight to hear from the Father, not from Jen and myself, but you can see that Seth is not doing well. And, you know, he doesn't like me sharing his personal business, but I can tell you the last few days have been a real struggle. And while we're on that subject, we've got a lot of content creator friends that religiously call and talk to Seth and check on him, and, you know, just ask him how he's doing. And you guys know who you are. I wanted to thank you for that. And, you know, Seth, we'll give the mic back to you. Unless you're not ready, buddy.
You know,
Jen, where do you think we're at in the case right now, Jen?
You know, I tell you, in listening, obviously watching everything any of us that are invested in this case are doing, right, is getting your hands on everything, especially since it's, you know, been a year ago, the 25th, the last time he was seen, the 26th, when he was reported. There's been a lot in mainstream media now, and a lot to watch and digest, and a lot of very interesting assertions, I think, that were, to me, quite perplexing. And
can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
Have you ever had a missing persons case where people are getting threats that are just looking for him, where people you can't even be sure that your vehicle is going to be safe if you stop and you start searching somewhere? You're going to, people get threatened. I mean, Nick and Dog's team, $100,000 dollar bounty for each person's head. I mean, this kind of stuff is just ridiculous. You know,
It is ridiculous. And really what needs to happen is law enforcement needs to go in. It's kind of like, remember the school shootings right now, they're happening and young ones are doing it. And for years, law enforcement overlooked 12-year-olds that said, I want to blow up the school, or an 11-year-old, I want to shoot up the school. And they just said, oh, he doesn't mean it. Tommy doesn't mean it. Well, now that they're coming to life, right? Now, if you say that, I don't care whether you're 9, you're going to get arrested. 10, 11. I mean, I can't believe the age of people that they're pulling in. I shouldn't say I can't believe it. They're doing the right thing because this is the only way. And this equates to this situation. It is time for the terroristic threat statute to be used in these cases, that if you threaten any sort of physical harm, if you harass, if you stalk, you have to use those statutes, and you have to possibly levy charges, but certainly have law enforcement come down and talk to these people. It's outrageous.
It's like a stupid John Grisham novel. Like, I happen to like John Grisham. I've read a lot of his books,
Magic Star, welcome to the lollipops. So glad to have you with us. Let me get over here. I don't know what the dogs heard, but if you hear the dogs howling in the background, sorry. When they see something, it gets them going and they start howling. Lord help them. But, oh, Magic Star, girl, I'm telling you, memberships is like one of the best ways to support a channel. It really, really is. And so for that, welcome to the South.
Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get a baby and get down? Welcome to the South.
Welcome to the family, Magic Star. We love having you with us. Thank you. Okay, guys, let's go some more.
Clive Cluster. Sebastian even reads Clive Cluster. I've got a whole bunch of his hardback books. Sebastian reads these. I read them. I mean, it's literally like it's out of a novel. And I tell you what, it's horrible. It gives me a different perspective when I read these books now of what that person's going through. And it doesn't even begin to touch what Sebastian's going through, because we don't know. That's the unknown. We don't know where he is. We don't know what he's going through. And that just scares the shit out of me. Excuse my language.
Could you imagine, every one of you, close your eyes and think of your child, and you not knowing where they're at. Are they alive or not alive? Are they being fed? Are they warm and cozy? Do they have cool air during the hot summertime? Are they with people who love him? Not love him? Are they abusing him? Is he hiding in a cave somewhere and living out amongst just the world around him? Think of doing that every single day for 19 months. Every day. I couldn't imagine. I could not begin to imagine. And as hard as it was for me to learn how to live without my son, knowing where he was, I could not imagine that pain of not knowing. But his mother, she doesn't slow down any, does she? Not at all. Guys, it has become my honest opinion. I believe the only true love that young man received for who he was came from his father, because his mother allowed things to happen in their home.
It's just, I've never been a person that's been scared of anything. And now I'm scared because I don't know what my son's going through. And that's frightens me.
Well, I think all of us, Seth, especially you as his father, for heaven's sakes, but I think that's the fear we all have, right? That's another reason why everybody is so engaged, is as you start to think of, you know, what he could have gone through, what he could be going through, just everything that young man, I mean, he's been gone a year now. And, you know, I understand where you're coming from, Seth.
What's worse is being told to go look at this or go look at that by my connects, and then getting the information, going through over 200 pages of notes and seeing what was going on in his life that I wasn't part of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like these reports that we got, and I'm not talking about CPS reports, those are bad enough. But then these other reports, I gave them to one of my psychologist friends, and I had this individual go over them, and they were just like, it's night and day between your house and their house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I don't understand how a child can live in your house, how your child could live in the house and you not interact with your child. That's supposed to be your flesh and blood.
Well, Seth, we can understand a little bit of that because we had an opportunity to see behind the curtain with the Texas Roadhouse video. That was interesting to me. We got a chance to pull the curtain open when, you know, she thought no one was watching, and we got to see the detachment for ourselves. We got to see
that is normal. That's what these reports actually told me, was that's normal in that house.
I agree, but I'm saying we actually got to watch it.
Yeah. Well, and
We've all seen Katie and Sebastian sitting there. We've all seen while they ate. We've all seen Katie's detachment from her very own child. We saw him sitting there unsure of everything. And she just playing on her phone, but he's not allowed to have his phone to play on. Right? But Katie had hers going 90 to nothing. And when she did speak to him, he's shaking his head no. Jennifer's right. That curtain got open and we got to see that interaction between him and his mother. And if it was anything like that at home, God bless Sebastian.
287 pages, Jen. So if you can imagine, everybody says, well, the father wants to sling mud because of these CPS reports. And, you know, this could be this could be that. But I'll tell you what can't be this or that is 52 weeks from February of 23 till February of 24, one counseling meeting per week for 52 weeks with an average of 5 to 6 pages per week, per meeting, explaining everything that was going on inside of that home, and more powerfully quoting Sebastian. So imagine being a father and going through the last 52 weeks inside of that home and listening to what your son had to say about that.
I can only imagine what those 52 visits were like to Sebastian. I mean, to be able to get those documents and to see what he had to say, what his tale was of him living in the home with Katie and with Chris, because we know that if he just forgot to put on a belt, he's going to get whipped with that belt. Whack, to quote Mr. Chris. Could you imagine? And the look on Seth's face right now, it speaks volumes of what he read and learned about. And that's not talking CPS reports. That's talking once a week with a counselor, someone to help him through life in his home. It's absolutely gut-wrenching to me to even begin to think of what life could have been like behind those doors after us seeing how she interacted with him at Texas Roadhouse. It's gross.
It's indescribable.
What hurts me even more is the fact that he didn't tell me. He didn't tell me. I don't know why. I thought I was there for him, and for some reason he didn't tell me everything that was going on.
I could only imagine the threats that Sebastian was receiving in his home. Do not tell your dad anything, or your dad will lose his job. Your dad will go off the rails, and if he tries to punch me at any time, because you know he will, Sebastian, he'll come over here and start a fight, and he will be the one to end up in jail. Oh, I could just imagine the words coming out of Chris's mouth. We've already heard his anger. We've already heard how dark and deep he goes. And now we're physically watching them pour salt in Seth's wounds every single day.
He was just afraid, Seth. He was afraid. And, no matter what
You should have never been afraid. My son should have never been afraid of anything.
I can't.
Well, Seth,
But that's normal. I'm just saying it's normal, especially children. And I don't know if they mentioned anything about this, but children will protect their parents, good, bad, or the ugly. And I think that was probably a product of that, not wanting to say anything disparaging to you about his mom.
well, and look at this through a child's lens, Seth. You had Sebastian 2 days of every 14 days. That's correct, right?
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes 3. God, sometimes 3.
okay. So you've got a child that is living in an unhealthy environment for, 6/7 of the time. And he was probably terrified in the time he got to spend to you that if he, we've heard some of the stories about how he got chastised for reaching out to his school and reaching out to CPS workers and told that he was overreacting and this and that. Well, imagine knowing that he only had you for 2 days And then the other 12 days of that 14 days, he has to go back into that environment. So through a child's lens, he's going to do everything he can do to make the majority of his time, which is the other 12 days, go as smooth as possible. And here's what he knows. He knows that if he goes to school, that he may or may not get protection from what's going on at home at school. But he's comfortable at least talking to them and telling them that. But he knows if he comes to his daddy and tells his daddy what's going on and he's not taken out of that home, then it's going to be a catastrophe inside of that home. So you have to look at it through a child's lens, and it would be very, very difficult for that child to come to the guy that he knows things would blow up with if he shared that with. So, just like Jen said, I mean, it's very, very difficult for a child to tell on a parent. I think he was trying. He was reaching out for help. I think there's some entities that failed him. For sure.
There are a lot that failed him. Beginning with his very own mother. She failed him. The man she married, he sure as hell definitely failed Sebastian. In the school, they were doing as much as they possibly could do. They were reporting it. When Sebastian told them things, they reported it. And it all goes back to the Department of Children Services in the state of Tennessee, in Sumner County. They failed Sebastian. Had they done their job, they would have talked to the school, asked questions there, and they would have found out his father is very involved in every aspect of his life. But no, just like Sumner County Sheriff's Office, they just took the mommies and the stepdaddies for it. And because of that, Sebastian has been failed all around him. And it goes back to whose family home he was living in. They're buddy with the TBI in the sheriff's department. Booty bumping going on with the reserve city cop. Family member in the DCS department. Those people, grown ass adults surrounding Sebastian, failed him. And he was terrified to tell his dad. I honestly 100% believe in my heart that Christopher Proudfoot had no problem whatsoever threatening Sebastian with his dad. Oh, I have been told his teachers were tore up because they were doing what they were supposed to do. They told the counselor, who in return called and reported it. It leaves their hand and goes to the Department of Children's Services, where a family member works. Law enforcement come in, take over his missing case. Oh, but they're buddies, so it's all good. We'll just sit here with our boots propped up and chewing our bubble gum, and it'll all go away, and everybody will live on and have a good life. Except they all seem to forget about what the hell Sebastian was living through. Yes, I heard that interview. we might need to find it and listen to it one day. But yes, they cared about him. I'm telling you, school was a safe place for Sebastian. Any place away from his mother and stepfather and that whole entire family was a safe place. But unfortunately, he was taken home that night. And the rest is his story to tell.
And it's
Well,
just-
you didn't fail him.
I mean, I look at hindsight's 2020, and I see things, and it's like I should have recognized it, and I didn't.
Hindsight's 2020, Seth. You didn't know, you didn't have those reports, you didn't have that information. You can't beat yourself up. I know you're beating yourself up probably about so many things that's, happen so often, but you just can't. You just need to redirect that sadness and energy to exactly what you have been doing, is spending every minute you can, whether it's passing out flyers, whether it's advocating on your channel, whether it's searching, whether it's conducting interviews, everything you're doing, just keep doing it for Sebastian. You're
That's all
really,
I can do. That's my goal, is to find him. There's I don't have to save my son. I don't have to tell my son I love him. He knows I love him. But I think about the last phone call I had with him that Thursday before. And it's like, I tell him I love him at the end of every phone call. Because not only the profession that I've been in, every day is not guaranteed. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. And that's one of the things that I've always told him at the end of every phone call, all that sort of stuff. So I know that he knows that I love him because I tell him. And I just want him to call me. I want him to call 911. I want somebody to see him so I can come get him. I've had people ask me about his name. Well, Sebastian stands for revered. Drake has always been, he's my little dragon. My dad's name is Wayne. That's where that came from. But he's always been my revered little dragon. His Aunt Sharon, may she rest in peace, she called him Drake. That's all she ever called him. And it's just, I gave him his name, and I just hope that he's still here. I see a lot of people talk about he's dead, and it's like, I'm going through enough shit. I don't need. Sorry, Tony. I'm going through enough stuff that it's horrible. I sit there and people are like, I think he's deceased, and it's like, how can you say that? There's no evidence that he's deceased. There's no evidence at all. Putting that in the air is just wishing horrible things on a child that is missing. And if you think that, you're not looking for it. If you think that he is deceased, you're not out there looking. When a group of kids walk by, you're not looking to see if one of them is Sebastian. You're not actually paying attention to the children to see if Sebastian is one of them, because you already have it in your mind that he's not here. Well, I know he's not here in my house, but damn it, I believe that he's still alive, and I will keep the faith that he is until proven otherwise, because my son deserves that. He deserves even more than that. And it really just, so many negative people out there. Just really.
Seth, you made the comment that there's no evidence at all that he's deceased, and that is 100% accurate. There is zero evidence that he's deceased. But what do you say to these people that we keep hearing over and over again that say, well, I don't know why people are blaming this person or that person or whatever. There's absolutely no evidence at all in any way, shape, or form. What do you say to that? From what you know and what you've seen and what you can talk about, what do you say to the people that say that, well, there's just, by golly, there's no evidence?
Lack of evidence is evidence in itself. I see where particular people are guilty of abuse, negligence. My son's not here because they weren't doing their job as a parent. They don't deserve children. And unfortunately, one of those is my ex. I don't know what happened to her. She was not always like that.
Seth, a little more specifically, we're obviously not going to talk about anything we can't talk about. But you know the contrary. You know there's a mountain of evidence, correct?
Yes.
And you know that all the people that make it seem like that Sumner County just has nothing and that they don't have a clue, and there's just, it's just, you disappear.
Okay, listen close. Turn your volume up. Listen close.
Appeared like a unicorn, poof. None of that's true, correct?
That's correct. Children don't just disappear. Sumner
County hasn't been fooled here, have they?
No, they haven't. They have not. I'm communicating with them almost every day. And obviously, from my understanding, she had her attorneys at her interview. I don't have attorneys sitting here telling me how to answer questions. I don't.
Boom. KK had her attorneys at her interviews when she was being questioned. Only people who are afraid to tell on themselves have attorneys. Only a father who has nothing to do with his son disappearing and is 19 months later still grieving and trying his best to find his child go into an interview without their attorney. If KK knows nothing, she would have never thought about calling an attorney. But they have evidence. You heard it. Sumner County, they know things. And when a mother won't do an interview without her attorney, that says everything. Everything. That speaks huge. What do you know, KK?
I'm not going to sit here and say that they don't know what's going on or that they do know what's going on. I just know that they are working this case to bring my son home. And they are working it. And they have information.
If I can jump in really quick.
Sure.
I saw
I need to blow my nose.
that I was, well, I actually not just an interview, multiple interviews on a local station, I'll just say. I have never seen anything so misleading in a lot of in many investigations. For those of you who may not have watched it, it was unbelievable.
Nick Barris, Channel 5.
No, it was,
Okay.
and I won't even say the channel, but they literally had on the Proudfoot's paid private investigator, who, in my opinion, and this isn't about him, it's about the misleading information that was broadcast. It was shocking to me about
The video.
Yes, the shadowy figure. And, you know, this could really mean something. This could turn the case around. And then
Whatever actually happened to good journalism.
So many have reached out to say that is absolutely no. It is not evidence of somebody who took Sebastian. And actually, that PI got on television and said that they were trying to figure out whether that could be Sebastian. Did you hear that? He
Could be the break in the case.
break it, but not just a break in the case, like somebody taking Sebastian, but you know, that could be him, like walking or whatever. That could be him. Most misleading thing I have seen in this case.
We all remember the video that came out about the 1 year mark that they put out of the shadowy figure, the man walking his dog at night, like he does every single night. The same video that Sumner County actually debunked in the very, very beginning. But they wanted to know so bad about that video. Then why the hell didn't Katie and Chris get up off their fat asses and drive around the corner and go ask that person? It was right there in their neighborhood around the corner. They could have walked. But it is my opinion that that private investigator that got paid hefty did exactly what he was paid to do, and that is to put out BS all over the place. To cause more distractions. Yes, Doodle Mom. Distractions. Guys, I don't know what changed with her, but she was so on it for so long, hitting everything and calling it out for what it is. And then all of a sudden, poof, she flipped. But you've got to wonder if possibly something didn't happen with her from the other side, per se, like so many other people. Makes you wonder. Yes, the neighbor walking the dog. Yes, it's that little video. You see a shadowy person or whatever. And yeah, Tina girl, all he did was muddy the waters. But in my opinion, that's what he was paid to do. Because he did nothing positive when it came to Sebastian's case. He put out misinformation every time he opened his mouth.
And it's wrong. And just bad. So I wanted to touch on that because I really hope they retract that. I hope they come out and they say we've learned more information, even after they received a statement from Craddock, who is the sheriff now. He wasn't before, for those who don't know, but he's always been assigned this case, and now he's the sheriff, but he's still the main guy for Sumner County. And Sumner County is still the main venue holder, right? They're still the lead. He came out and told them, no, we have analyzed that. We had it within the first 72 hours. That person, it's not involved. It is not evidentiary in this case. And they came back even so and went to a clip of the Proudfoots. And then they responded, well, no matter what they say, we still think it could be a break in the case. Until they prove to us it's not, we still think it could be. Is this some sort of distraction? Do I have some
Yes.
to throw to say, look over there? Is that what that is? Look over here.
It's what it seems to me.
Because that whole piece was so misleading and it was wrong. And so I'm sorry. I had to jump on that because that doesn't help find Sebastian when wrong information is being put forward as legitimate. There could be nothing further from being legitimate than that.
What gets me really about that so-called PI is the fact that he spends more time on social media putting out false information that does not help locate or find Sebastian. While I have PIs that you won't find them on social media. You won't find my PIs on social media because they understand the private part. They also understand that my private eyes are in communication with a CSO. Anything that comes in through Dog and Nick's team that comes into us goes to my PI. My PI goes and filters it through all the others that we've already received tips to make sure we're not getting duplicate tips, and then turns around and feeds it to SCSO and feeds it to me and my team. And then we track down rabbit holes.
Now, that's a PI. That's how a private investigator should operate. But we all know that, their PI over there was used to photographing young girls. Very strange change of employment there, if you ask me. But hey, there was nothing positive that he ever did in Sebastian's case. None whatsoever. And that's my opinion, guys.
That is the whole point of having a private investigator, is to go through all the tips, make sure which ones are valid, and track them down.
And I can tell you that we love our PI dearly. But if they got on social media and attacked the mother, regardless of how we feel about her, it would be the last day she worked for us, period.
Yeah, exactly right. It serves no purpose. I understand putting forth facts and we've talked a lot, and I know I've talked a lot about the abuse because I'm appalled. And I hope when Sebastian is found, that is looked at very closely and reconsidered in terms of the ability for those parents to be around Sebastian without being monitored. I mean, that's my main point of that. It was an abusive environment, and he should never be allowed to return to that. In my opinion, at least without people watching, having somebody there. I wanted to.
When I find him, he won't be going back. He'll be over my dead body.
Well, you have a lot of information now to work with, and so the courts are going to look at this, I think, a lot more closely now that all this new information has come out, and the fact that it's being spotlighted. I mean, how many cases go on forever and ever and ever, and the Department of Child Services, each state they're called something different, but CPS.
Wait, here's something like when I requested those records and they told me I had to have an attorney request those records because I went online, submitted the request, and then they told me I needed to have an attorney. But I did that on a Wednesday, and on a Friday, they terminated the lady on the on the DCS reports.
Did you hear that? He filed that report on Wednesday because those were sealed cases. They had been sealed. He filed the request on Wednesday. His lawyer did. And on Friday, they terminated the lady on the DCS case for Sebastian.
What kind of, so that she that she did wrong, so you terminate her. So what? I mean, if that doesn't scream, we didn't do our job, I don't know what does.
Yeah, I mean, there's just huge department issues in DCS across the nation. We've seen it in multiple cases. Look at Harmony Montgomery, dead for years and nobody knew it. They were still paying checks out. But I'm not trying to detract. I'm just trying to say in this case will put a spotlight not only on that issue now, but if he's found, spotlight there. And I think it will help make sure that he's in a healthy environment if he's found, Seth. And I think we can all look forward to that. I wanted to touch base, if you guys don't mind, on some of the things said in another interview on another station. And I wanted to focus in on this criminal matter, whether this is a criminal matter or whether it's not a criminal matter.
Now, guys, remember, this is before she decided the 3 a.m. lights were probably just a trash truck. For whatever ungodly reason, she decided that they have nothing to do with any of this. But she's putting out good facts here, good information. Thank you, Jackie T. We're glad you're here with us. Jackie said, Lolly, powerful video stream. Yes. This is where we hear facts. All we get from Katie and Chris are statements they make to debunk their own lies. I think so, Kai. I believe they can. I believe he can. I believe because of those reports and everything, he should start there. They did not protect Sebastian at all. They allowed him to stay living in that environment, knowing what was happening, and allowed him to get sealed. It's crazy to me. Who in God's earth would be okay with someone doing something so stupid? It's never okay to leave a child in an unhealthy environment.
This is a no-brainer. It really is. First of all, the minute you say it's an Amber Alert, that innately means that he was taken. Now, whether that
I have one question for that.
Yeah.
You're ex-FBI, all right?
Retired.
I'm sorry, retired.
No problem. It's like a Marine, right? No ex-Marines.
Once a jarhead, always a jarhead. Semper Fi. You're a retired FBI. Explain the card team.
Yes, the card team. This is a great team. They actually come together. They're FBI agents, only FBI agents, and they report pretty much immediately upon request. So the minute a local department calls them, they go on scene and immediately help guide local law enforcement in missing children cases. And
Cinderella, I want you to know that is played over and over and over in my mind. She says, if Sebastian is alive, the more they pick on Sebastian, I fear he's close and is being punished for what we say. I have thought on that, following that, thought on that. I even looked into statistics of that because that does weigh on my mind a lot. It really, really does. But then that turns around and lights a fire inside of me more, wanting to get these people put away for what they have done and possibly are doing. They need to be called out. Okay, I will. I will. Thank you, me and you. And so, yeah, I that's heavy on my mind a lot. I'm glad you put that out there. Thank you for that. But you know, these people need to pay. They really do.
They're amazing. They usually lead the interviews. They lead what should happen, and they're very on scene and on hands. The best thing is when they're contacted within hours, because they deploy and dispatch and go there, and they have all these resources. And the biggest thing they have, Seth, is this is what they do. Like, as an example, I did SWAT. That's what I did, as my extracurricular activity after I did my cases, or, that's how it works in the Bureau. You have these extracurricular. Card team members have full-time agent jobs putting bad guys in jail. But when the bell rings, that's what we call it. When the bell rings, that means you're in the middle of tacos with the family. You leave and you respond and you deploy to that situation. And so that's what the card team does. And they are experts in the missing child realm.
Now,
Can you explain the acronym, Jen, to the public?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask that of me. I'm so sorry. I'm going to pull it up. I don't want to get it wrong. It is the child abduction response team. So
here's my one question.
Response team. And I apologize. Go ahead.
No problem. Why would the card team not be activated?
Well, this is the problem. Like with all cases that have local venue, in other words, doesn't involve crossing state lines. It's not an actual kidnapping case. It doesn't have terrorism. It doesn't happen aboard a plane, a train, or a boat, reservation, government installation. The venue lies with the local authorities, Seth. And when the venue lies with the local authorities, it's up to the local authorities to activate and to make that phone call. And a lot of times, sometimes that happens because you have to have a great relationship with the FBI and vice versa. Are those what we call SRAs? Are those agents going out and making contact with the locals so that when something like this happens, the locals want to call? They're like, because they have coffee together and they lunch together and they work on cases together. So it's, hey, Tom, oh my gosh, I've got a missing child. Can you get the card team out here? We need them. And so that's simply why.
So basically, Sumner County is being selfish for their own personal gains. But, you know, it is what it is. They're not asking for help. They don't want help because personal gain wise, their ass would be in a sling. Hello, Sky Spirit. How are you doing? Hello to everybody. Let's finish this out here.
Jen, is it possible that, and I'm just trying to be fair, is it possible that because, and you and I have talked about how many of these autistic children that go missing and what the normal percentage is that are actually runaways, which is high. So we've got them treating this as a runaway situation for the first 72 hours. Could that have had something to do with not calling people in right away because they were working off that theory the first 3 days?
100%, but everybody has a different way they work cases. There are some people that are just so proactive, and I believe that's how it should always be. In other words, you should always treat a case as if there is foul play and work your way backwards from that until it can be proved it's not foul play, it's foul play. So that means you get a warrant for the house. That means you process. And it's difficult because a lot of these departments are so small, but that's why it's important to call in a CART team. The other thing is they are expert interviewers. They have seen hundreds of cases and interviewed parents and can get a really good feel. And they want to get that interview done ASAP.
I wanted to show this here as I put this out. Their darkness is now known and will always be known. What disturbing individuals that whole family is, and their horrible actions, in my opinion, allegedly, as we have seen and watched on that video. That has never been more true for me personally, because I have seen photos from that 3 a.m. video. There's ways to go about doing it. I was just talking to my son earlier about things, and he was saying, you have to know how to do that, Mom. But yeah, you can go layers and layers and layers beneath the picture. And that was something he was taught when he was becoming a DPS officer. That video, though short, tells of the story of Sebastian and what could have happened to him that night. Yeah, TJ, it's like peeling an onion. Exactly. And that was the analogy he used. But what we see in these pictures, it lit a fire within me to push Sebastian's case to a whole different level and to continue to push. He didn't deserve those things. He didn't deserve the torture. He didn't deserve anything that happened that night with that family. It was so disturbing, gut-wrenching. Yeah, TJ says, let's just say it really pissed off Lolly. It did. It did. I was ready to walk from this case because I was so flustered with it all. But what I saw in those pictures, it's gross. No child, no human being deserves what happened with those pictures. And to Chris Proudfoot, let me ask again, what happened to your axe? Where did that go off to? Just asking a question.
So not only the interview, but the polygraph. Everyone should have been polygraphed within the first 24 hours. Period. End of story.
I'm an attorney, but
What's up?
No, go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, that's what needs to happen. So I think it seems to me this, and it reminds me so much, and people might not like it when I say this, so much of the Summer Wells case, right? The Summer Wells case where you it wasn't treated like something had been wrong. And it was really handled in some ways quite similarly.
Of course, if you recall, back in the early days, Mr. Chris talked about how he followed the Summer Wells case. I guess, taking notes. Yes, SI, a lot of tools. Maybe for Father's Day, he got new tools. Maybe a new axe. I don't know. Just saying.
And
yeah, I refuse to let my son become the Summer Wells.
well, the good thing is everybody isn't going to let that happen, Seth. We're not going to let you down. We're going to keep his face and name out there. It was similar.
The only thing I can say is Summer Wells really didn't have family fighting for her, and that's sad. And I'm going to fight tooth and nail for my son.
Agree. And that will be the difference maker. That will be the difference maker.
Yeah, Tina girl, kind of like, the hammer with the first ex-wife that was left in a pool of her own blood to die. And then his mommy got him off of that, that, yeah, kind of like that.
So hopefully
Seth,
I answered the question.
no, you did, Jen. Thank you for that. So Seth, before you get into sharing what you're going to share tonight, I'm assuming you're still doing that, correct?
Yeah, people have wanted to hear Sebastian. I don't have anything with him being 15. When me and
Before he starts playing these of Sebastian and shows these things, JH, there have been a lot of pictures that I've been studying and looking at. I showed a few of them on our last 3 a.m. video that we did. And some people see the things, some people don't. It's hard to see them at times. But when you sit in a dark room on your phone or a tablet, you see them a whole lot different. And there are some that I will never show. There's a whole lot I will not show. It completely broke my heart. Completely. But let's just say Mr. Chris seemed to be holding an axe in the air. So that just kind of gives you an idea.
and Katie separated during the divorce, Sebastian would call my phone. And I wouldn't always answer my phone because sometimes when you're at work, you can't answer your phone at times. Or if I was asleep, I wouldn't hear it ring. And he would leave me voicemails. And
Prepare your hearts. Everybody, prepare your hearts.
I've got several voicemails. I've probably got like 8 or 9. And I just never deleted his voicemails because I didn't see the point of deleting them. And now I'm thankful I didn't, because I still get to hear him. I get to hear Sebastian before his life took a turn and bad things started happening to him. And I'm going to share a couple of those with Sebastian's Army. You were asking a question though, Tony.
Well, while you're getting that together, before you play those, it's certainly not a tit for tat, but there was a great question that was asked the other night in Katie's interview that, so I want to ask you, what do you miss most about Sebastian?
Everything. I miss him asking me questions. I miss him taking a shower until there's no more hot water. The bathroom is so steamed up, and then all of a sudden there's like the water stops, and I'm like, well, how long is it going to be in the bathroom? I only have one bathroom. So, one bathroom, you need to hurry up, because if I got to use the bathroom, you need to hurry up. And walking in, and he's literally curled up on the floor. The bathroom is all steamed up. He's laying on a towel, and he's covered up with another towel, and he's just sitting there. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he was like, it's warm in here. And I'm like, well, it's warm out there too. He was like, yeah, but it's warm in here.
He made a sauna.
It's a sauna. Really. I mean, walk in, you can see the moisture dripping off the walls and stuff. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Well, are you done? Because I got to use the bathroom. He was like, I guess. I mean, I missed everything about him. I miss the attitude he would give me. I'd give him shit too, but that's father and son relationship. I miss taking him to go fishing, and I would have to bait us up because the worm is icky and it's bleeding. And it's like, well, son, it's a living thing. You have to put it on the hook. I miss everything. I miss our late night trips or early morning trips to go to Waffle House. I mean, I miss taking them to go play Magic. Play D&D. I miss all the things that would light him up. It's just, my life is nothing.
How many times have you heard that word from Katie? My life is nothing. Never once did we. He could be anywhere. So, I got to go on vacation in case he might be in Oregon because he's barefooted. So he would walk across the United States, right? That's right. That baby will never have to pay for his Waffle House again. We will all treat him to Waffle House anytime he wants when he comes back home. But yeah, not one time did we ever hear Katie say those words.
When you sit there and you're right, Tony, I only had him for 2 or 3 days. I didn't live. I worked. I worked until I got him on the weekends. When I got him on the weekends, that's when I got to live. The rest of the time, it was just work, make money. So that way, when I had him, we could do whatever he wanted to do. I remember at one point in time, I gave him money, and then I had to take him back to there, and they were at Red Lobster eating dinner, and that's where I was supposed to drop him off. And I dropped him off. And then all of a sudden, like 45 minutes later, I get a phone call from Chris. Did you give Sebastian money? And I'm like, yeah. Well, are you sure you gave him money? Yeah. I gave him $40, $20, $40. I just gave him some money. Why wouldn't I? If there's something he wants, why wouldn't he be able to get it? Here he's got a wallet, it's got his ID, it's got his fishing license, it's got his bank card, everything here. So why wouldn't I give him money so that way when he's not here, if he wants something at school, because he had told me he wanted stuff from school, and I'm like, hey, here's some money. If you want to get something from school, that's fine. Just don't spend it all on candy, knowing full well he's probably going to spend it all on candy. But calls me up like he's not supposed to have money. Or, yeah, that's I see it in chat. He was like, oh, just making sure he didn't, steal money from you. I wouldn't have given a rat's.
A 15-year-old boy. They want money. They want to be able to buy things. There's different places in school lunches, most of the places you go to these days, where they can buy different things to eat. Yeah, Sabrina, neither will I. I will never buy that this young man walked away. Never. Yes, Lisa, it's all about control. They controlled every aspect of Sebastian's entire being. He had accidents. Instead of finding out why the young man at 15 is having accidents in his bed, they put him in the garage because, should they seek help, they might find out the real reason behind it all. It's absolute insaneness that they're going to see. Did he steal money from you? And as his dad says, he wouldn't have given a rat's ass if he took money. He needed money to be able to feel like he was a teenager. I mean, come on already. There was no anything anywhere around that house that people would say, oh, a teenager must live over there. They must have a kid. Nope. Not at their house. All the things have been thrown in the trash, right, Mr. Chris?
There's money laying around on my table. There's money there's money sitting here on my desk. I'm the only one that lives here. When Sebastian's here, anything that is mine is his. As long as you don't go into my wallet and take it. I mean, there are times that I would literally tell him, why don't you clean the house? Well, I don't want to. Make you a deal. You clean the house, you can have whatever money you find. Oh, okay. And he would clean the house. It's not that he's going to do, a perfect job, but he's going to pick things up and he's going to organize it and he's going to ask me where things go. And so we're going to communicate and he's going to learn some organizational skills. And then he would find money and he would be like, I found $5. Okay. What are you going to do with it? Put it in my wallet. Sounds good. Put it in your wallet. I've got a jar. You can find change. Put change You find change around the house, put it in the thing. He would do that. Then we would sit there, and on days we would pour it all out on the table. And I've got change rollers. So we sit there and count out the change. And then we pack up rolls, 50 cents for the pennies, $10 for the quarters, $5 for dimes, $2 for nickels. And I mean, it all adds up to life skills.
Seth, I have a question for you. Did you, not to bring this down, because those are all such beautiful things, and we so often take all that for granted, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly with our kiddos that we get to enjoy daily. But I want to ask a question. Did you know, before all of this started, did you know about Sebastian and his responsibilities to clean up the room, and that he didn't clean up the room and he would have his things taken, and then he didn't clean up the room again correctly or what was expected, and that Chris Proudfoot took everything, put it in a box and threw it away, got rid of it? Did you know anything about that?
At one point in time, it was brought up to me, and it was brought up to me. I have a tub of Sebastian's toys, but Sebastian loses pieces of toys. So he's got an arm of a figurine in the thing, or he's got, he's got the zip cord for the Spider-Man, vehicle. And it's like, he wasn't listening, so I took away some of his toys. Okay. Don't touch any of the stuff that I bought him. If I bought it for him, it's not your place to take it. Don't take it away. Don't throw it away. If you don't want it there anymore, you let me know. But every time I went over there, Sebastian had a rack with all of his toys, so I could see all of his toys. I didn't know that they were throwing away toys because he wouldn't pick them.
Yeah, I was just curious.
If it's broken, then obviously if it's broken and can't be fixed, you should throw it away. And you should explain to Sebastian, hey, you broke it. It's no longer whole. I can't fix it. So now you have to throw it away. That's how you should communicate with him, so he knows that, hey, you take care of your stuff, and then you don't have to throw it away because it don't get broken. And that's
how most parents teach their children to take care of the things they have, or they could actually lose them, kind of thing. But, when you live according to Mr. Chris and his rules, there is no second chance. There is no learning mechanism to it. And, he likes to brag. He wrote the parenting plan. This is a man that could not even pass anger management classes. Had to retake them over and over and over again. But he's the one writing their parenting plan? Give me a break.
Right. And I get it. Like, I mean, my mom, if I left my stuff on the floor, she'd pick it up and she'd take it, and I'd have to buy it back. 5 cents for this, 10 cents for that. But no one, I had never heard of a parent, and I'm talking about what we know about Chris Proudfoot now, of throwing away a child's things as a punishment, because that is so invasive and so.
It just means you don't own anything. It means you don't have anything, and therefore anything and everything can be taken away from you at any point in time for no reason at all.
Just like his own life. In my opinion, that's how he looked. They all looked at Sebastian as if he was disposable. Sorry, but that's how I feel. We have listened repeatedly to every word they say, all their actions, looked into them as who they are as people. And it is my opinion that Sebastian was disposable to them.
That is not how you build. That's not how you do structure for a child, whether they're autistic or not.
Well, and it's permanent, right? It's permanent damage. A parent may not look at it as damage, but those are the prized possessions of that child. So, you know, if they're put up or you got to buy them back, then it's a life lesson. But when they go out with the trash, it's permanent, and there's no coming back from that. And you know, without being able to look at things through a child's eyes, I mean, you know, it may seem like a plastic toy to a parent, but you know, that may be something that is like Linus's blanket for a child that, you know, he's not happy without. So it just seems awfully permanent.
Well, to me, it shows, this is quite simply where I was going with this. It shows lack of empathy. And when I see lack of empathy in a parent toward a child, it just opens up possibilities.
Like a child disappearing kind of possibility. And yes, Tina girl, just like the pets. Just like pets. Can't believe the pets that I saw in the 3 a.m. photo. It just blew my mind. What kind of people would make a autistic young man who had a passion for animals want to hurt them in front of them? But that's the people we're talking about. And a parent who lacks empathy and goes ahead and drives their child home from the Texas Roadhouse, knowing what's going to happen after they get there. That person does not deserve any sympathy for what's coming her way, in my opinion.
I'll leave it at that.
A lot of negative possibilities.
Cinderella, you're right. I forgot about that. They said he didn't know the concept of money when he ran away. I remember that when they were talking about him riding a bus or something like that. Well, no wonder he had no concept of money. They wouldn't let him have any. Viva. She opened the door again, that dog. If it ain't the kids, it's the dogs, y'all. Let's finish this out and hear about the part where we start hearing little Sebastian speak.
But let's hear Sebastian's voice. This is so cool that you kept these.
This one was May 16th, 2017. I don't know if you guys can hear this or not. So you have to let me know if you can.
Seth, just needed to call him.
Hold on.
Hi, Daddy. I wanted to tell Mom. Please call. I love you. Bye. You hear this yourself? It just started. Hi, Dad. I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday? So you don't have decent clothes? Mom, do you let me wear whatever I want to wear for picture day? Clothes for picture day. Mom, okay. I need to wear decent clothes. I know. Will you please send decent?
Okay, guys, we're going to stop it there. Let me tell you, when you haven't seen or heard from your child in months and months and months, and to go back and to listen to their voice, it's a comfort. But it's also a sadness. Thank you, Rachel. Thank y'all. Sorry. I remember listening to the voice messages. My son would not text much, he always spoke. Seth, we love you, buddy. We really do. I remember going back and listening to my son's voice just because that's all I had. It's the most precious, precious gift that you just hold on to forever and forever. That young man, guys, is the reason we're here. He's the reason we go back every day and listen to things and bring things out, write things down, research everything. That sweet, precious voice. It should light a fire under all of us. And the people who have done this, who has had a hand in Sebastian disappearing, they need to be held accountable. They need to be held accountable. Sebastian needs to be found so that he can tell his own story. I don't know if many of you remember back at the very beginning when Seth told us about the time that Chris Proudfoot told him, maybe if you go to church, you'll find him. Well, Mr. Chris, we're about ready to go to church. I remember Christopher's words when he spoke out and said, this will be a case to be studied for years to come. Well, Mr. Chris, they're going to have fun studying you. You're a case all in its own. We will not stop until Sebastian has the justice he deserves, until that young man is found and his father can breathe again. Guys, stay strong for Sebastian. Remember, that is the reason that we continue every day. We're in a group of very few that's left, but he's the reason we continue to do it. He deserves it. His dad deserves to know. And the people that are just pouring salt all over Seth's wounds, may God judge you one day. And I hope you like it hot. Guys, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being here and listening. As we heard his father speak about him, and he came to life for us, even if just for just a little while. You felt the love that his dad had for his son, something we've never felt when Katie read off her script. It's nice to know that Sebastian had love. And because of his love for his father, Sebastian knew love. And the love we have for this young man that we've never, ever met. Hold on to that. Let that burn inside of you to push us even harder. And let's do the best that we can for him. He deserves it. So many people have let him down. I don't want to be one of those. So, guys, with that being said, I'm going to let y'all get out of here and enjoy your night. We'll be back again tomorrow. So I hope you can all join me again. And let's keep digging for Sebastian. Love and hugs, everybody. Good night.